George, first of all, welcome, and can you tell us a bit about yourself and your new role?
Yeah, so I've just joined the club recently on their promotion to the SPFL. I was previously in the Lowland League with Broomhill, as most people will know. But when the opportunity came up to join East Kilbride, following the promotion, it was one I was really excited about and really looking forward to. So I'm here as general manager and really enjoying the role and embracing it.
You come obviously amidst a bit of change at the club, one of those being obviously the new board of directors. Can you talk us a wee bit through the reason behind these changes?
Yeah, I think when the club did get promoted, it was clear that the work that needs to go into a club when they become members of the SPFL is certainly more than it was within the Lowland League. There's a lot more paperwork to be done, a lot more administrative stuff to be done, and a lot more to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So from that point of view, I think the previous board felt it was the right and proper thing to do to really step up a level and embrace the professionalism of the SPFL.
Yeah, and what is your role within that?
Yeah, so the general manager's role, it really encompasses everything within the club, dealing with the day-to-day running, helping out with the licensing criteria, etc., player transfers, player movement, players in and out, of course, dealing with the general administrative duties that encompass a role with a club within the SPFL. What I will say, going from having been with a club within the Lowland League to a club within the SPFL, it's really as night and day, and that's no disrespect to the Lowland League, but the administration of being part of a club within the SPFL is huge, and I take my hat off to every one of the people there on the committees and volunteers at the 42 clubs within the SPFL, particularly the ones that are part-time, because it's hard going. But what I will say though is the help from the SPFL is fantastic. They've really helped us and guided any new club through the process. So all in all, it's been good. So you dealing with that. The board felt that they had to get some additional help and support, and that's the reason I'm here.
Yeah. Obviously we carried out recently a fan survey, and results from that will be shared publicly probably next week. Understandably, the main aspect that fans are clearly enthusiastic about is the men's first team. How have you found that so far?
Oh, it's been great. It's been busy. It's been a bit of a whirlwind, to be honest with you, because as we were promoted into the new league, obviously there was going to be changes. The manager and the coaching staff identified areas of the team that they wanted to strengthen, and so dealing with that side of things has been pretty full on. But it's been great. It's been fantastic. Everyone's helped out and embraced it. So yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. But it's an enjoyable one, certainly.
Of course, within the survey, there's obviously going to be some shortcomings that are pointed out as well. And,
of course.
One of these has been maybe the exposure of the women's team and the academy sides. How do you feel that we can overcome that in the future? Yeah,
I mean, it's part of the overall club philosophy that that's an area that's going to be looked at, making it a true community club. We already are a community club, but perhaps there has been a bit of a disconnect, and that's something we'll be looking to embrace and enhance in the coming months. It's certainly, I've already had some preliminary discussions with the academy side of things, and helping them out with a couple of things as well within that structure. So yeah, it's certainly something I think the club wants to embrace. Everyone's behind it. The board of directors are behind it, and we want to move the club forward as one. Because the more people we have involved on every level, the greater the support the club gets.
And obviously there was some specific areas that are noted as well, which are like the stadium infrastructure. I don't know if there's anything that you're able to update supporters on.
Yeah, so we're in talks with the council just now regarding the stadium. You know, there's no firm news on it yet, but we have had meetings with the council. Our preferred option is to stay and develop K Park, and make it a true community stadium. But those talks are still ongoing, so we've not had a definitive answer on it yet. But we are, you know, quite well advanced in terms of, you know, submitting drawings, and you know, we've laid out a vision as to how we want it to look, and it's whether we can get an agreement with the local authorities to enable us to do that. But certainly, our preferred option would be to develop K Park in the future.
Yeah, and obviously, a big part of that. We'll also be working with the community trust. Have you found that side of things?
It's been great. It's been great. Everyone's been really helpful. Everyone's on the same page with it. You know, because you know it's for the community. As for the community, as you know, as the name would suggest, we want to help the entire community. So working with them, it's been great. There's been no problem at all. We're all singing from the same hymn sheet, in that we want the best for K Park, and we want to develop K Park. And you know, hopefully with the two groups behind it, you know, that'll obviously lend a bit more weight to our argument with local authority.
Yeah, and obviously with the club growing the way that it is, there's going to be some detractors and things like that as well. How you found that side of things? Yeah,
listen, I always say in life, you know, everyone's entitled to an opinion. Whether we agree with that opinion is a different matter altogether. And I think sometimes, you know, people form an opinion without knowing the true facts or what's going on behind the scenes, you know. But I'm content, and the board are content, that we know what's going on behind the scenes, and you know, we'll continue with our plan the way we're going just now, you know. And as I say, but everyone is entitled to their opinion on it, you know. And I don't mind constructive opinions or constructive criticism. There is a bit of, you know, criticism going about, and it's always hung about the club, that, you know, about various issues, which it's not informed criticism. But yes, we'll take that on the chin and move on. But I'm satisfied that we know the direction the club's travelling in, and the board are satisfied, and you know, that's really all that matters to us at the moment.
Yeah. So we also opened up to some supporters for to email in questions specifically for you. As you can probably understand, a number of these were about the stadium,
yep.
Which you've already kind of touched on there. So moving on to some of the other areas. One of which was about bringing other age groups into the academy setup. Is there any? Yeah,
that's part of, you know, what we previously discussed, the overall sort of dialogue with the academy side of things. I think that's certainly something, you know, that we need to look at in the round. You know, there's a lot of, you know, stuff that we need to sort out first before we move on to the actual infrastructure of it. But be rest assured, that is something that, you know, we are keen to do and we're keen to look at. We want to make football accessible for all. And you know, the way to do that is obviously to introduce new age groups, and you know, get the youth, get them from that size right up to, you know, being supporters from a very young age, but also playing football. We're very keen to have kids playing football. I think it's really important in this day and age that, you know, we allow everyone that opportunity, and it's certainly something the club are taking seriously and looking at.
Another question is about how the club aim to grow the support over the coming years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of related to the stadium development as well, you know, because we have a limited capacity at the moment, and we're well aware of that. So we need a bit of patience on that side of things, but it shouldn't stop people wanting to support the club and help the club, you know, from the local community and further afield. You know, we understand that. You know, we're in this sort of different world in Glasgow and the surrounding areas where most supporters will go to watch two other big teams on a Saturday, and that's fine. You know, everyone has that opportunity. But I think, you know, if we can increase the capacity to the stadium, I think we're confident that we could get people in to fill it. But you know, success also breeds, you know, people coming towards the club, and the more successful we are, you know, hopefully the more people will take an interest in the club and want to come and see us.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen some of that over the pre-season. even going into the Premier Sports Cups with
Yeah.
sellouts, and even today.
Yeah, I mean, that's a classic example, Jordan, you're absolutely right. We've sold out, 2 or 3 games so far this season at K Park because of the interest and within the Premier Sports Club, and, we sit here before the first league game today, and, we've sold out the home end, which is fantastic. So that bodes well for the future. Of course, we would like to get more people in. We would love to house loads more people, but, we are kind of, constrained by the size of the ground, and that's why it's so vital for us to get the ground developed and give more access to as many fans as possible.
Yeah. Another specific question was about the circumstances behind a couple of transfers. I don't
Yep.
know if you can maybe touch on some of that.
No, absolutely. I assume they're talking about the Senna and Josh O'Connor transfers. Yeah, I mean, Josh O'Connor was never signed with the club, and I know that the appearances may have looked differently, but I know the manager was in constant contact with Josh's agent, in discussing his position with the club and the circumstances that he was here, and it was decided, with an amicable conversation, that it just probably wasn't going to work for Josh here, and he needed to go and get game time. And we wish him extremely well up at Elgin. I hope he does well. But it's certainly, there was nothing in the background that was untoward, shall we say, to say we had an open and amicable discussion with Josh's agent on it. As with the Senna one, Senna, again, he came. He wanted to play every week, and he had a discussion with the manager after, I think it was the Wraith Rovers game, and wanted some guarantees that he was going to play. And unfortunately, the manager can't give that. He can't give that to any player. No one's guaranteed a starting spot, and it's all dictated by performances and what have you. So Senna wanted to play regularly, and we came to an amicable agreement with him. And he's moved on to Clyde, and again, we wish him well. But, the circumstance, I know there was a lot of talk about the circumstances behind the 2 transfers and, the way it was handled. But from our point of view, we are satisfied that everything was amicable behind the scenes with the player and the player's agent, in Josh's case, certainly. So, yeah, we're quite satisfied the way we conducted ourselves with that.
But obviously with other transfers as well, how impressed have you been with the transfers that have been made this summer?
Fantastic. The manager obviously comes with a list of players that he wants, and to strengthen the squad. And I think, if you look at a couple of the results within the Premier Sports Cup, particularly Wraith Rovers away, we've had a really impressive performance there. Of course, we had a down with Inverness and St Johnstone, but again, that's going to come in pre-season. I think the manager's been open in stating that those were pre-season games for us, almost to get us ready for today. But the transfers overall have been fantastic. No complaints. The manager is happy with them. We have also, it's worth mentioning, we have about 5 or 6 injuries as well. Our first team players are still to come back. So when they come back, it will give another additional freshness to the squad. So yeah, overall, I think we're delighted the way the business has been done.
How confident are you ahead of the new season?
Listen, you can only be confident. I think every team in the country is confident today. It's the first league game. However, with the size of squad we have and the quality of squad we have, I would like to think we'll make a good fist of it, shall we say? Without making too many predictions. I think we're all excited. We're all looking forward to it. We're all wanting to see what the new season brings. And I think all being well, hopefully we'll be in a good position come the end of the season.
Yeah. And is there anything else that you want to mention to the supporters or the wider? Yeah,
listen. What I would say to the supporters is, keep supporting the club, keep backing the club as you've been doing. The support we've had has been tremendous, and it's continuing to grow. We'll do our best at this end to make things right for them, and we would just ask for them to keep on supporting the club in the way they have. It's been great. Hopefully we're only going one way, and that's up the way. So, for that point of view, it'd be good to be part of the journey for them.